where Al-Bara ibn Azib radiallahu anhu, he said that we went out with the Prophet ﷺ in a janazah of a man from Al-Ansar, and when we reached the grave and they were waiting for him to be put in the grave, the Prophet ﷺ sat down, and he said, and we all sat down around him, كَأَنَّ عَلَى رُؤُوسِنَا الطَّيْرِ, as if there is a bird on top of our heads, meaning without any movement, very silent, very not moving and so on. And of course the death and the situation of the death and the grave and so on makes the hearts soft, and a person should be more concerned about his own self. And as Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, he said, if people in the janazah and so on, the unseen is lifted and they see what's happening, they won't care nothing about their loved one that died. They will be more concerned about themselves, right? But it's the mercy of Allah that things are hidden for us in this life, so that we can continue to live our life. This is not something that would make the person panic or anything. No, it makes the person steadfast on the deen of Allah, and that brings the joy. There's no way out of this. There's no choice. We're done. The person, once he reaches the age of puberty, he's either from the people of Jannah or the people of the hellfire. A person can deceive himself or deceive others and he think that he's being nice to others when we talk about matters of forgetfulness. People don't like to talk about the grave and the death and so on. But this is something coming no matter what. So either to take it serious, and if a person take it serious, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. Huwa Rahim subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is more merciful to the human being than his own self. So the fear is for the person to be steadfast, yes, but also to have good expectations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the person is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that things will be good, but not to be forgetful and to be away from the orders of Allah. So, and the Prophet ﷺ said, and in his hand, عود ينكت في الأرض, a stick that he was, doing something with it on the ground. When you're concerned about something, sometimes you would draw something on the ground or you move. It's a sign of concern and focus and khushu' and so on. And then the Prophet ﷺ lifted his head after looking at the ground for some time, and then he said to the people, to the companions radiallahu anhum, 2 times or 3 times, استعيذ بالله من عذاب القبر, seek refuge in Allah from the punishment of the grave. He told them that 2 times or 3 times. So this is one of the ways to protect ourselves from the punishment of the grave, is to seek refuge in Allah. استعيذ بالله من عذاب القبر. Then he said, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Abd al-Mu'min, the slave, the believing slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he is leaving this dunya and is facing the hereafter, the angels come down unto him from as-sama, from the heavens. بيض الوجوه كأن وجوههم الشمس, their faces is like the sun, how bright it is. And with them are kafan, or the coffin, or the thing that the dead is wrapped on with, from al-Jannah, and fragrant from the fragrance of Jannah, till they sit with him or by him, mudd al-basar, which means as far as his eyes can see. And then Malak al-Maut comes by his head, and he sits by his head, and he would say, أيتها النفس الطيبة, O pure nafs or soul, اخرجي إلى مغفرة من الله ورضوان, come out to a maghfirah, forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ridwan, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فتخرج, then the soul comes out, تسيل كما تسيل القطرة من في السقاء, as the drop of water comes out from the bottle, how easy it comes out, drips very easy. So the same thing, the soul of the believers will come out that easy. So the angel of death will take it, and they won't let it, meaning the soul, the angels, they won't let it in the hands of the angel of the death, طرفة عين, a blink of an eye, unless they will take it from him. So the angel of death, his job is to take the soul from the body. Once he takes it, they don't leave it in his hand, they take it from him right away, and they would make it in this coffin from Jannah and the fragrance of Jannah, and comes from it the best fragrance ever that people would have on the face of earth, and they would take it to go high and ascend with this soul, and they would pass on, every time they pass on a group of the angels, unless the angels would say, ما هذا الروح الطيب, what is this blessed and pure soul? And they would say, فلان ibn فلان, so and so, the son of so and so, with the best names that they used to call him in the dunya, till they reach the sama dunya, this sky or this heaven, the first one of this dunya, and they would ask for it to be open, to go to what's beyond. and it will be open to them, and every sama, every sky, or every heaven, the angels of it will like parading it, taking it like a parade, but I don't know if it's a correct word to say that. يشيعونه, that means they go with it from one heaven to the other till they reach the seventh one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, اكتبوا كتاب عبدي في عليين, write the kitab or the book of deed of my slave in the highest level, and bring him back to the earth, because from it I created them, and from it I would return them, and from it I would resurrect them again from the earth. So his ruh, his soul, would come back to his body. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَيَأْتِيهِ مَلَكَانِ, then the two angels would come to him. فَيُجْلِسَانِ, they would make him sit and say, مَنْ رَبُّكَ, he would say, رَبِّيَ اللَّهِ, who is your Lord? رَبِّيَ اللَّهِ. مَا دِينُكَ, what is your deen? He would say, دِينِيَ الْإِسْلَامِ. مَا هَذَا الرَّجُلُ الَّذِي بُعِثَ فِيكُمْ, what is the man that was sent among you? He said, هُوَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. So they would tell him, وَمَا عِلْمُكَ, what is your knowledge? He would say, قَرَأْتُ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ فَأَمَنْتُ بِهِ وَصَدَّقْتُ, I recited the book of Allah and I believed in it and I followed, or made truthful meaning and followed it. Then a caller would call in the heavens, and صَدَقَ عَبْدِي, my slave is truthful, فَأَفْرِشُوهُ مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ, meaning that give him the path to Jannah and make him wear from Jannah, and if open a door for him for Jannah to Jannah, and then from its fragrance and goodness will come to it, and his grave will be extended for him as far as his eyesight can see. And a man with a good face, good clothing, good smell would come to him, and he would say, أَبْشِرْ بِالَّذِي يَسُرُّكَ, have the glad tidings of what would make you happy, give him the glad tidings, this is the day that you have been promised. So he would say to him, who are you? Your face is the face that brings with all means of goodness. He would say, أَنَا عَمَلُكَ الصَّالِحِ, I'm your righteous deeds. So he would say, the man would say, رَبِّ أَقِمِ السَّاعَةِ حَتَّى أَرْجِعْ إِلَى أَهْلِ وَمَالِي, oh Allah, make the hour comes in the day of judgment so that I can go back to my wealth and my family. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, as for the Abd al-Kafir, to the disbeliever, if he's about to leave this dunya and to face the hereafter, the angels come from the heavens, سُودُ الْوُجُوهِ مَعَهُمُ الْمُسُوحِ, they are very dark faces and they have the same way it was for Jannah, they would have the musuh with him, which is basically a rotten coffin and so on, and they would sit with him mud al-basar, as far as his eyes can see, and then the angel of death comes and he sits by his head, and he would say, أَيَّتُهَا النَّفْسُ الْخَبِيثَةِ, total opposite, oh you wicked and evil soul, come out to the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the punishment. قَالْ فَتَفَرَّقُ فِي جَسَدِهِ, his soul would تفرق, meaning run away, does not want to come out, will be all over the place in his body. فَيَنْتَزِعُهَا, then the angel of death will take it out by force, like the iron is taken out from the wet wool, it tears it, right? And he would take it and they won't leave it with him in his hand for a blink of an eye, till they make it in this rotten coffins and so on, and the worst smell would come out from it, the worst smell on earth, and they would take it high, and every time they pass by a group of angels, they would see, what is مَا هَذَا الرُّحُ الْخَبِيث, what is this wicked and evil soul, and they would say, فُلَانٍ وَفُلَانٍ, so and so, the son of so and so, with the worst names ever that they used to be called in this world, and they would ask for opening of the first heaven, it would not be given to them. And the Prophet ﷺ recited the ayah in Surah Al-A'raf, فَلَا تُفَتَّحُ لَهُمْ أَبْوَابُ السَّمَاءِ وَلَا يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى يَلِجَ الْجَمَلُ فِي سَمِّ الْخِيَاطِ, that the skies would not, the gates of it would not be open to them, and they would never enter Jannah till the camel they pass through the needle opening or whatever. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, اكتبوا كتابه في سجين في الأرض السفلى, write his book in the lowest level of the earth, and it will be thrown, فَتُطْرَحْ رُوحُهُ طَرْحًا, it will be thrown in a very forceful way. And Allah and the Prophet ﷺ recited, وَمَا يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَكَأَنَّمَا خَرَّ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَتَخْطَفُهُ الطَّيْرُ وَتَهْوِي بِهِ الرِّيحُ فِي مَكَانٍ سَحِيقٍ, whoever associate partners with Allah as if he fell from the skies, as that will happen to him. So his soul will come back to his body in the grave, and the angels will come and they will make him sit, and they will ask him, رَبُّكَ مَا دِينُكَ, مَنْ الرَّجُلُ الَّذِي بُعِثَ فِيكُمْ, and he would say each time, ha ha la adri, I do not know. And then a caller would call from the skies, and kadab, he is a liar, give him a passage to the hellfire, and a gate from the hellfire will be opened for him, and comes to him from the hellfire its heat and its evil things and so on, and it will be made very tight on him till his joints will be all mixed together. And a man with an ugly face will come to him, ugly clothes, very rotten smell, and he would say, Abshir billadhi yasu'uk. Have the glad tidings of what would harm you and evil for you. This is your day that you have been promised. He would say, who are you? He said, فَوَجْهُكَ وَجْهِ يَجِئُ بِالشَّرِّ. Your face comes with evil. He said, أَنَا عَمَلُكَ الْخَبِيثِ. I'm your evil actions. So you would say, رَبِّ لَا تُقِمِ السَّاعَةِ. Oh Allah, do not make the hour comes as a result of what you see.